We welcome in our man, Dave Aiken, who is here.
Hey now. Hey.
David, good to see you. I think we have to start your portion of this program with body shaming.
Oh? Well, I'm kind of used to it.
We're not going to body shame you.
Oh, I thought, okay.
Well, anybody, really. I mean, it's,
You looking at your notes?
Yeah.
Well,
I'll save it.
I always assume it's going to be me first.
I mean, it's a daily occurrence. If
Well,
you
I have
think
some
about
notes
it.
about Biggie's shirt. Biggie and I had to do some work in his room,
That's right.
and I noticed it's full of holes.
That's right.
yeah, don't wear Gym Day. I don't wear good clothes.
Was today gym day?
Remember,
What's that?
yesterday, good clothes. Today,
Yeah.
Not good
not
clothes.
so good.
If you're seeing the video today, obviously it's gym day. He's not
Obvi.
going to be wearing good
This
clothes.
is his fitness wear.
We know that.
This is his
That's
athleisure.
just how it is. All right. We know that. Now, let's get to some body shaming here for a
All
minute.
right.
Please.
Good old-fashioned body shape.
We got a body shame out there from a former guest on this program. His name is Aries Spears. Do you remember?
I do. I think the first time I heard of him was on Mad TV, and I remember him being in our studio,
Yep.
semi-disinterested,
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
but okay.
Yeah, did a
Not the worst.
does
No.
a Shaquille O'Neal impression, which is great.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's most known for. Maybe I don't know much about him, but he came in. He was performing here locally, and he was, as you say, disinterested in being up this early and being in here, but a nice guy.
And didn't he have a massive entourage?
Yes.
For someone of that,
Yes.
in my mind, showbiz stature.
It's
I
funny.
mean, it was at least 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, and it's funny how he's not the most famous guy in the world. So you imagine if you are really, really famous, what the entourage is like. Because he had several guys with him.
Imagine if Mariah Carey had an appearance.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Well, remember 50 Cent had
Right.
that limousine, or did he have 2 limos?
Yeah.
Or just one limousine, giant SUV?
I think he had, the limousine SUV and like a car in front. And
with support staff.
that, if you missed that, this is years ago, 50 Cent, rapper 50 Cent,
When he was really, really, really big on the scene, just arriving.
came to our studios, not for us, but for a different station in the building. Chris Demm and I were out front
St. Patrick's Day, pub crawl.
doing a pub crawl. We did those things.
I remember this.
We were pub crawling, and a bodyguard got out and surprisingly went to Chris Demm and stood in front of him, like right next to him.
It's like they spotted me from the limo and said, that one.
And they got
Watch
around
him.
and basically pinned Chris Demm to the wall so that 50 Cent, who had been shot 9 times, in fairness, could walk by.
We know fangirls when we see them, sir.
But I'm wearing green.
I hear there's a new business. It's kind of like Uber, but for rap stars only, and the cars are bulletproof.
Okay.
Because you could be shot as a rapper. So if you're a rapper on the
And
go,
you have beef with someone?
yeah, and you're need to get from one side of town to the other, you can go on your app and get this. It's Uber for rap stars because the cars are bulletproof.
We found your son's dream job.
I mean,
Driving for.
Yeah.
do you know what my son?
He's got a driver's license.
He does.
He loves rap.
Now you'll find this interesting. My son is still into video games and plays NBA 2K quite a bit,
That is the game.
along with Madden, and he used to run some COD, which is Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. So the other day, now he's not really allowed to spend money now. He has his own green light card that we see what he spends. But the other
It's like
day,
a preloaded debit.
yes, the other day, charge for $1.25 showed up on the regular credit card. And it's tied to his Xbox, but he hasn't spent money on there in quite some time. And so he came downstairs, bebopping along, And my wife said, "What's this $1.25 charge from Microsoft for your Xbox on our credit card?" He goes, "I had to make a purchase."
In game.
In game. And she said, "What did you buy?" He goes, "I bought a suit for one of my players on 2K.
Yeah.
Wow.
And my wife said, "You bought," she goes, "like a uniform?" He goes, "No, I bought a suit because he had to be drippy in the press conference." I said, "Let me get this straight. You bought in the metaverse, out in the video era game, a suit for a player so he could look drippy in the press
A
conference.
fake suit for a fake player.
For a fake player.
In a fake game.
In a fake game, in a fake press conference.
It's all cartoon.
all cartoon. He spent $1.25 on that.
Yeah, what of it?
What's the issue?
I mean, honestly, if you're pricing suits, that seems like
it's
a
a good deal. It's a
bargain.
good deal. He said he had to have drip at the press conference.
This is one of my favorite moments between you two where both of you are staring at each other and doing the same thing. You idiot. Because you're like, you did what? And he's like, you don't get what I did. You fool.
Biggie's right. They're both thinking, how do you not understand this?
Yeah.
My God. I mean, it's not like he bought clothing for himself, which I would almost understand if he wanted to look drippy at school.
Right.
And then yesterday, was first day of school.
How'd that go? First day senior year?
Very, very well.
Yes.
He texted me and he goes, "You would not believe the number of baddies in my civics class."
Baddies.
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 And I wrote back and said, unfamiliar with the term. It means attractive women.
Oh.
And I said, and so he
Girls.
said, and he said, he got home. He's like, "Oh, Dad, pound this rock on the baddies in my civics class." And I was like, "Don't tell me that. I can't know that. You can't. I can't
Pound it here?
I can't know that."
Outside. Pound it outside.
I said, "I can't
Under the table.
pound a rock over 18-year-old baddies in your civics class. That's not something I'm allowed to do." Of course, we're not going to do that. He's like, he's just like, "Oh man,
Fucking primo crop
He
this year.
said, "I gotta up my drip because I said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Maybe you should ask one of these young ladies for a date and see what happens." He's like, "I'm just biding my time, waiting for these baddies." Okay, that $1.25 on that fake suit, man, that got me.
That is so funny.
Can you believe that?
Dad, at least I don't spend $12 on salads.
Had to be
Who did he dress? Do we know?
No,
I bet he created his own player.
probably
I bet he dressed himself.
So it's not Giannis?
okay.
No, I
there you
bet
are.
I bet he
don't
probably dressed himself.
know. I don't know. It's a good question. So anyway, this is about body shaming.
Okay.
All right. Aries Spears said this about Lizzo, and she is now reacting to it.
She got a very pretty face, but she keeps showing her body off. Like, come on, man. I'm sorry. Listen, I ain't the most in shape man in the world, but I still think I'm at least handsome. But a woman that's built like a plate of mashed potatoes is in trouble.
All right. We don't need to have that kind of statement, do we? About Lizzo. She shows her body a lot, and he says she's built like a plate of mashed potatoes. And now he's no
That's
prize.
the only thing you said.
Right. He's no prize himself. No, he said more. He goes on, and we have another insult toward Lizzo.
You know what kills me about women? The hypocrisy. Yes, queen, slay queen. Yeah, girl, your confidence. Diabetes, heart problems, heart disease, cholesterol. Y'all all claim womanhood and support for your sister, but if you really gave a why wouldn't you go, black girl, we love your confidence, boo-boo, but sister, put the eclair down. This ain't it. It's treadmill time.
Okay. Now, I've had this discussion with a friend of mine for years and years. He thinks people should be shamed because of just exactly what our Aries Spears just said. You know, it's about diabetes and heart disease and all that stuff. You know, well, how dare you do this? You just can't win. You know, it's like I just saw Abercrombie and Fitch put on a plus size model on one of their advertisements.
And that threw you when you were at the mall.
Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I went into the mall with my daughter to H&M, and they had and Abercrombie, and they had on the walls. They had like larger women in underwear.
Yeah.
And I said, I think you got hacked. I think you. No, that's the way it's done.
They're in Target like that too. When
Yeah.
you walk down the main aisle there, they've got plus size folk.
And somebody, the folks on Abercrombie and Fitch, like when they went online, a lot of people were saying, "Why would you put this plus size model? You're just promoting diabetes and heart disease." Everything Aries Spears just said, and then others clapped back and said, "This is life. This is what people look like. This is why you can't sell."
You could argue that's what the customer looks like.
Yeah, you can't sell a swimsuit to somebody that's overweight. Well, Lizzo was at the VMAs, won an award, got on stage, and basically knew people wanted her to address Aries Spears' comments.
And now, to the that got something to say about me in the press. You know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. They be like, Lizzo, why don't you clap back? Why don't you clap back? Because I'm winning.
By the way, there's nothing wrong with your radio. These are cutouts when she's cursing.
Yes, from
on
MTV.
That's what bitches show people.
I didn't catch all of that. I know she said, bitch, I'm winning.
Yeah. She decided to take the high road.
And she did. Bitch, I'm winning. I ain't going to say nothing about you.
Yep.
I'm winning. And Aries Spears is a bit overweight himself.
He said that.
Yeah,
He said, yeah.
He did. That's right. Let's go to Hannah, who's talking about body shaming. Go ahead, Hannah.
Hey, so people always like to equate thinness with being healthy. But being thin does not mean you're healthy. I know plenty of thin people who don't work out. They eat crap every day, but no one says anything to them because they're thin.
You're right. You're right. I think that's true. I know a guy who goes to the gym with me, and he has really gotten in great shape. And he's always been thin, but he said, I was a person who was thin, but I ate badly, and I could tell I wasn't in. Now it's been about a year, and he's in great shape now.
And it tends to catch up with you later.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you, Hannah. That's true. I think that's exactly right.
It's just like the quickest visual cue that human beings have evolved.
That's right. I don't think I disagree with a friend of mine. Ours says fat shame people, body shame
them
people,
in the streets.
shame them in the streets.
Yeah,
but I don't agree with that because I think people who are overweight know they're overweight, and they don't need to be shamed for it. But his whole point is always, well, you don't go up to an alcoholic and say, well, good for you, live your life, So someone who is really overweight and faces health problems, why are we saying, oh, you be you? That's his whole point. It's a different thing to me,
Well, I mean, when you think about healthcare costs in this country and all if you want to go down that road, COVID.
It's
maybe
the worst
to the
problem.
point.
Yeah, really.
But people who are in your circle can certainly say something.
Your family?
Yes. I mean, it may not be your place as a stranger to say, put down the cheeseburger if you're at an Applebee's.
Totally agree. Yeah. But if you're friends.
But that, so if someone or love is having alcohol issues, you can certainly confront them. If someone is having, you think is developing diabetes, or you're concerned about their weight, you can certainly confront them. But it's not up to a stranger.
No, it's not.
Well, public shaming does nothing.
No. But it's hard to come to somebody who's, even if you're friends,
Of course it's
to go
hard.
to somebody and say, you really look like you're having a problem.
Or you just say, I'm worried about you.
Yeah, you could say that way. You say, you wouldn't say, you look like you're having a problem. Look at me.
Yeah, just prepare yourself.
Is that a triple cheeseburger?
Yeah. Just prepare yourself that if you say that to somebody trying to be helpful, and they do clap back and say, take a hike.
None of your business.
Then
a lot of people
you got to remember that too.
Anonymous, you're talking about Aries Spears now, a former guest on this program. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got to defend him a little bit because if he was making comments about her vacation photos that paparazzi took without her knowing, that's off limits to me. But she poses in thongs and half naked all the time publicly, which makes her fair game in my opinion.
So when she puts it out there, it's fair game. Yeah, I see that point. I agree. I mean,
she owns it. She is unashamed.
She really
in her
does.
videos. She's wide open.
Thanks, Anonymous. Appreciate it. And I'll tell you something about Lizzo. I like her music.
Yeah. She's very talented.
I think she's
And that wasn't, we don't even have the worst thing that he says about her.
What did he say? What's the worst thing he said?
She looks like the poop emoji.
He said that about her. He said I didn't know that. Yeah. I wondered. You said, boy, he said more than that. Okay.
Yeah. You're half-cocked.
I'm half-cocked. I'm Johnny Half-Cock. That's what they call me behind my back. That's what they call me, Johnny Half-Cock.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see that.
Your friends are becoming concerned.
You're having a problem.
There's someplace you can get. There's help.
You're telling me that man said about other human beings.
Yes.
You look like the poop emoji.
So you might want to play down he was on our show.
Yeah, it's not a badge of honor.
Former guest says Lizzo looks like poop emoji.
With the down and out porn stars and insult comics. The parade of talent through these doors.
Yeah. And if you could pick a guest between those two, Lizzo or him.
Oh, God. I mean,
Who do you
obviously
want?
Lizzo.
Of
Of
course.
course, yeah.
Play her flute.
Yeah,
And play her flute.
She's an amazing, she's an enormous superstar.
That song About Damn Time is fun.
My daughter always
is a
says
good
to me, my daughter, who's only 14, says, who are the famous people that come in? And I said, not many. Believe me.
And if Lizzo came in, man, you would groupie it so hard.
Oh, get it, girl.
Oh, beauty, be yourself. yourself. You would be the biggest sellout. And if Aries Spears came in, you'd sell out right to him.
I did.
You're right. I think your message was a little coarse.
What happened to good old-fashioned fat shaming?
It works.
Already
possible,
did. Already had him in.
Yeah.
That's right. Tracy, you're talking about fat shaming. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, P1 in Charlotte.
Thank you.
So, so the thing that crossed my mind is, you were speaking earlier about how, people were appalled at the fact that these clothing companies would, broadcast or show models in different sizes and things like that, and larger models. Mm-hmm. Well, my thought is this, is that, hey, at the end of the day, they are in the business of making money. Mm-hmm. And they were leaving a ton, no pun intended, of money on the table when they were not making clothing that fit other people. Yeah. And they decided that, hey, we're not going to leave that money on the table anymore. Let us market and make money in the process, and then we can serve a broad cross-section of customers.
No pun intended.
Thank you, Tracy.
No, she's right.
I love
your business.
Well,
the customer's getting larger.
Agreed, but I always have felt like when you put the clothing on I don't want to say hotter. I feel
baddie?
Like if
a baddie body.
I feel like the clothing sells better when you put it on a thinner, more in shape person.
I hear what you're saying, but if you are a larger man or woman and you see something that looks like you, that's how it would look on you. Would you be more inclined to buy it?
No. When I have bought, now this is just me, I used to buy things from magazine or catalogs, and I know Biggie had the same experience. You see them on somebody that's really good looking, guys, and you think, oh yeah, I'm getting that shirt.
Or getting that jacket.
It doesn't look anywhere close to on you.
It's a 10.
If I saw it on somebody that looked like me, I would not be as apt to buy it. It's more honest in the advertising. Mm-hmm. I think the better way, if you just want to sell clothes, to me, have them for every size, but model them on the
which is what Big and Tall Stores did for years.
I really do.
Only in the last couple of years have you finally seen big and tall guys wearing big and tall clothes.
I mean, big guy.
Yeah.
And like when I went into, God, this is so bad to say, but I'm just going to have a moment of honesty. When I saw those women who were overweight modeling the clothes in the store, I just thought it doesn't look as appealing as it would on a, supermodel. I mean, I hate to say that, but it really, I would be much more apt to buy it. And guys too. When I used to see ripped guys wearing shirts, I'd buy the shirts. Now I don't think I would.
But to the consumer, to the customer that's there, they know that it's available in their size. Where if they see it on a smaller mannequin or model, they're going to say, that looks good on them, but it's not going to look good on me. I'm not even going to go look at it.
Oh, do you think that's the way it works?
No, I can just tell you if that's not.
I always felt the opposite. Yeah.
I would see, like, if I saw a cool looking purple shirt, I'd be like, oh yeah, that looks cool. I'd buy it, then I'd put it on, and I'd be like,
look the same.
I look like Grimace. I can't wear this anymore.
Exactly. I've always thought the same. It's like when you buy shoes, they always put them out in the smaller size.
Yeah.
I don't think it works as well if you put my size out there, but I know they have my size, so I buy. Of course, I buy the shoes.
I think only these companies started with when body shaming became a big thing. I think suddenly they were like, all right, put the fat models out because I think. But now I see stuff on bigger guys, and I'm like. Yeah. Ooh, if that looks like that on him, it's going to look even worse on me, and I'm not buying it.
I wonder, just from a dollar and cents thing, if you just said, let's make money and body shaming be darned.
Well, that's all these clothing companies are doing. They know there's a market there.
But for years and years, I think what Biggie said is accurate. They feel beholden to it. They have to do it.
Yeah. True, but there were also, there are multiple cross currents here. There was also the fashion industry was blamed for, rightly or wrongly, for giving young girls eating disorders.
That's right.
Anorexia.
That's right.
I mean, because they said that's the only way you can be accepted. That's the only way to get attention. It's the only way to get the male gaze.
That's
if
true.
You look like this,
that's right.
Dressed like this.
It's like, there's a documentary now about Abercrombie and Fitch and how they did that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there is. There is a total documentary about that. Buddy.
Baddies.
Baddies. You're talking about fat shaming, buddy. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, all. Chris, the Bolt's still running good. Loving it.
Oh, good. This is the Chevy.
Chevy Bolt.
Chevy Bolt, then. Yes, sir.
Hey, so when I go to my yearly physical, I'm 250 pounds. Mm-hmm. Yes, my doctor talks about my weight, but he also asks two other what I feel are more important questions to him. Do I drink and do I smoke? Mm-hmm. Yet we don't shame people. I think because alcohol, everyone does. We don't shame people for drinking too much. But we certainly shame people for eating too much.
Oh, that's the opposite of what our friend says. Our friend says you never shame people for eating too much. You do when they drink too much. You'll take them aside. If I have a friend who has a drinking problem, I think I'm more apt to go to him and say, I think you've got a problem, versus somebody who just eats too much. Personally, don't you think? If you go, I mean, it's very rare when you go to somebody and say, I think you eat too much.
Yeah,
I've only,
eating, everybody eats. So that's one thing.
Yeah,
but drinking, if you start showing up for work drunk, then somebody's got issues.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
For looking at me like that.
One more on it here. Trucker D, you wanted to comment on body shaming, which I'm completely against. Go ahead.
Good morning, fellas. Let's just have a moment of real honesty here. We're telling these women, especially women, that at 5'6", 5'7", 280 pounds, 300 pounds, how beautiful they are. That's not true. If that's me or you that big, no one's telling us how good looking we are. No, we're not getting a chance.
Yeah.
Well, and the same people whining and crying, telling we shouldn't say this and that. I truly agree. You don't bully people.
Mm-hmm.
But when these people die of a heart attack or heart disease or whatever, these same people that told them they're beautiful are going to forget about them, and they're not standing over their casket crying for them.
Well, that's the whole point that I see online. It's like, we've gone so far to the accept yourself, you be you. I think some people now, like Aries Spears, are pointing out, well.
But to Trucker D's point, there's always been a double standard.
Men and women.
Men are not judged by the same standards at all as women.
No, we're not. That's true. Thank you, Trucker D. Appreciate it.